Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive today. It's a little bit bittersweet. We're going to be looking at the life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. He recently passed away
Yeah,
at the incredible age of 100.
at 100.
An incredible life, really is. We've got some fascinating articles here from the New York Times, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and even a really moving tribute from President Obama on Medium, and a report from WBL-TV about President Biden's remarks.
Yeah.
You know, what's so striking is how President Carter's story, it connects with people like us. It's not just this political thing. It's about the impact one person can have
That-
on
it-
the
it-
world.
It's really, what's fascinating is the beginning, how his journey started. The AJC piece really emphasizes his very humble beginnings on a peanut farm
Right.
in Plains, Georgia. It wasn't a path paved to be president.
Yeah, it really highlights how anyone can achieve great things.
What?
It doesn't matter your background. It's a story that's inspiring, especially for those of us who didn't come from privilege or power.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's a theme that echoes throughout his life. You think about it, he leaves a very successful career in the Navy to take over the family farm after his father passes.
Wow.
That sense of duty, putting family and community first, it really says a lot about his character.
It's a good reminder. Leadership isn't always about being in the spotlight.
Right.
Sometimes it's about those quieter acts of responsibility
Exactly.
and commitment.
And these values shaped his path as he enters politics,
Mhm.
serving as a state senator, then governor of Georgia, which ultimately led him to that unlikely presidential run in 1976.
And, he faced a lot of skepticism along the way.
He did.
The New York Times article mentions how people saw him as an outsider,
Right.
lacking the experience of those who came before him. But he connected with people.
He did.
He spoke to their hopes, their concerns, and in the end, he won their trust.
His victory was a testament to the power of authenticity,
Yeah.
a genuine desire to serve the people. He wasn't a polished politician. He was a man who lived a life grounded in hard work, faith, and community.
And those qualities, they really shine through during his presidency.
I do.
Of course, there's some good times and bad times.
As with every presidency.
But what stands out is his commitment to peace,
Yeah.
both at home and in the world.
The Camp David Accords, where he brokered peace between Israel and Egypt, remain a landmark achievement in diplomacy. It wasn't just about signing a treaty, it was about understanding, building trust, and creating a path toward a more peaceful future for generations to come.
Yeah, the impact of that agreement on the Middle East
Yeah.
and the lives of those people is huge.
Yeah.
It just shows the power of dialogue and finding common ground, even when there's deep conflict.
Absolutely. And that commitment to building peace, it went way beyond the Middle East President Carter's vision for a more just and peaceful world. It really took shape after he left office.
That's what I found so interesting reading all this. His post-presidency, that's where you really see his legacy.
Yeah. The Carter Center, which he founded with Rosalind, became this incredible force for good globally. They took on issues like disease eradication, election monitoring, conflict resolution, all aimed at empowering people, promoting peace.
It's amazing when you think about it. New York Times mentioned they monitored over 100 elections
Wow.
all around the world. Can you imagine the impact of that free and fair elections? Giving people a voice, holding power accountable.
It's about strengthening democracy at its core.
Yeah.
Making sure people have a say, not just politicians. And that's a legacy that directly impacts so many lives, giving them hope.
And it's not just these big initiatives. His work with Habitat for Humanity, that's a great example of making a difference for everyday people.
Even in his 90s, he was out there hammer in hand building homes alongside volunteers, not just lending his name, but actively participating, working with people from all walks of life.
President Obama's Medium post really captured it. He talked about how Carter embodied decency, integrity, not just in words, but actions. It wasn't about photo ops. It was genuine service, rolling up your sleeves and doing the work.
Yeah, it's about seeing the humanity in everyone, no matter their background. Building bridges, not walls.
That really resonates with me. We don't need to be in office to make a difference.
Right.
We can all live by those values in our communities, in our everyday lives.
Absolutely. President Carter's life shows us the power of one person to create positive change, small acts of kindness, multiplied across millions of people. That's what can truly change the world.
His dedication to service never wavered, even with setbacks. The Iran hostage crisis, mentioned in the AJC and WBL-TV pieces, that was a tough time in his presidency. Ultimately, it played a part in his defeat in 1980.
But even in that loss, he didn't give up. He saw it as a chance to keep serving, just in a different way.
It's almost like that experience that pushed him to work even harder for peace and justice. The Carter Center became his platform to address those global issues he cared so much about.
Right. He never lost sight of the big picture. He didn't let political setbacks stop him from making the world better. That's a powerful lesson for all of us.
It's about perseverance, staying true to your values even when things are tough, recognizing that even in failure, there's a chance to rise up and keep fighting for what's right.
And that fight, it doesn't have to be on a global scale. It can start right here at home, President Carter's example. It reminds us we all have a role in building a more just, compassionate, and peaceful society.
President Biden, in his statement on WBL-TV, he said we should study Jimmy Carter. Not just his policies, but his life, his character, his unwavering dedication.
It's a call to action, to look at our own lives and ask, how can we live by those values? How can we make a difference, no matter how small?
It's a challenge worth taking on, a legacy worth carrying forward. A reminder that even when the world feels divided and chaotic, the power of one person to make a difference should never be underestimated.
Because in the end, that's what President Carter's life was all about. Not power or prestige, but service, humility, leaving the world better than he found it.
And by doing that, he inspired countless others. And that, I think, is the most powerful legacy of all.
And it's something we can all strive for. You know, reading the New York Times, I was struck by how often Carter spoke about his faith as this driving force.
Yeah, it comes through in all these pieces. It wasn't just a personal belief. It was really connected to his ideas about service and compassion.
He saw it as a call to action, this responsibility to care for others, fight for justice, build a better world. And that goes beyond just religion. It's about that basic human desire to make things better.
Right. It's realizing we're all connected. Our actions have an impact. Even small acts can make a difference.
Exactly. It's choosing hope over being cynical, taking action instead of apathy, believing a better world's possible. And we all have a part in that.
I love that. And what's inspiring is it wasn't about big gestures or speeches. It was about consistency, day after day, doing the work.
Yeah, teaching Sunday school, building homes with Habitat, working for peace globally.
Yeah.
He was focused on making a real difference for people.
And he did it all with such humility. There's this quote from his Nobel Prize speech that stuck with me. He said, "We must adjust to changing times and still hold to unchanging principles."
Wow, that's powerful. It shows his commitment to those core values: honesty, integrity, compassion, service. Those ideas, they go beyond politics, beyond borders. They speak to something fundamental about being human.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive on President Carter, I keep thinking, what will your contribution be? How will you keep that torch of service and compassion burning?
It doesn't have to be huge. It could be volunteering, mentoring someone, just being more present for your loved ones. Every act of kindness, every effort to make the world brighter, it all matters.
It's about embracing that spirit of service, recognizing the humanity in each other, leaving the world better than we found it.
President Carter's life shows us, even when things feel divided and cynical, there's always hope. There's always a chance for positive change. And it starts with us.
So let's honor his memory, not just with words, but with actions. Let's get out there and make a difference, however we can, and inspire others to do the same, because together we can build a world that reflects those values he held so dear: peace, justice, compassion, and love.